To our workshop series. This is workshop number 2 out of 4 workshops. Every Tuesday throughout the month of February, I'm going to be live here in the Facebook group. And I'm going to be doing this just so I can lead you through a few exercises that will help you to find your first or next revenue stream. I say first or next because who are joining us might not have a revenue stream set up quite yet, and that's totally okay. Others of us have one revenue stream, but we're looking to really expand our potential and expand our revenue and expand the ways that we can make money without, of course, this is Roadpreneur, without adding heaviness and weight to our lives. So I love the exercise that we're about to do today. Last week, we covered the 5 whys exercise. And this is an exercise that you can go through to basically peel back the layers on the purpose and the emotions behind why you show up in this world, why you're showing up for other people, and really keep a close eye on the things that you don't want to do. So if you've not gone through that exercise yet, please do, because it's a really, really, really good one, a really important one to go through. The exercise itself is very important because it lets you keep up these guardrails and say, this is what I want to do, this is what I do not want to do. And we're going to continue to dive into that. And we're going to get a little bit more into the how this week. And so the how for joy mapping is we're going to really dig in and start to extract different ways that we can honor ourselves, honor our lives, honor the people that we want to be with and the people we want to serve. So if you don't have a pen and paper yet, please go and grab one because you're going to need it. And in fact, I'm going to get one myself. I'm going to get one right here. And let me see why are my fingers not working. And then also I'm going to get a marker and I'm going to do this alongside you with, my fingers are truly not working. I'm going to do this alongside you with a marker. So you can see it a little bit better, but I'm going to be holding up whatever I draw. If you've not gotten your workbook yet, this is all inside your workbook too. So definitely go and get that workbook. You can go to, I will post the link later here, but it's roadpreneurial.com/your next revenue stream, but with dashes between each word. That's a complicated URL to say, probably not the best one that I chose, but it's here in the group, and so you can definitely go and log in to get that workbook at a later time. But for now, don't go anywhere quite yet, because for now, just get a blank piece of paper and a pen, and that'll totally serve this purpose. I want to speak a little bit about what joy mapping is and why I think it's so important, especially when it comes to building a business, a roadpreneurial business. Now, roadpreneurial businesses, to me, do not require that you live in an RV. They do not require that you even own an RV. A roadpreneurial business is simply a business that lets you seek adventure. And that adventure can look like anything that you want. I showcase myself a lot in an RV. I talk a lot about RVing, but there's a lot here that will also work for any business, really. I actually have had several people come up to me and say, everything that I've seen you teach, you can do that for any business. It's so true. You really can. And I've helped a lot of businesses, a lot of different business models, really expand their revenue and expand their reach just by doing these kinds of exercises. So I'm excited to do the same for you. And joy mapping is one of my absolute favorite ways to break this down as to what this is going to look like. Now, I'm going to tell you that I have made some mistakes in my life. Shocking, right? We've all made mistakes in our life. Of course we have. But I've made a lot of mistakes, specifically in my career. I've leapt when I probably should not have leapt, and I said no when I probably should have said yes. And if I had been doing this joy mapping exercise earlier in my career, I feel like things could be a little bit different. I feel like I would have learned a little bit more about myself and what brought me joy, which would have shaped how I show up in this world. And so that's what I want for you. That's why we do this exercise. That's why I wanted to take you through it, because to me, it's just really, really, really important. It's a really, really important exercise to understand what brings you joy, what sparks that excitement inside of you. Specifically joy mapping, the mapping side of this exercise. So what I'm about to take you through is something that I do not only to find those guardrails so I can say, yes, that's in my lane. I'm going to say yes to this opportunity, or wow, that looks exciting, but it's probably not the right thing for me right now. This type of exercise, having this in front of me, I also use it for a lot of different other aspects of my business. So I will use the same mapping exercise, this mapping technique, to find ways to market my business, to create content for my business, to develop out the membership that I run, the Roadpreneur community. This is a really nice way to visualize what is going on inside of you, inside of your brain, and where you can show up the most effectively and continue to keep those guardrails up. So I'm just dropping that little nugget of wisdom out there. We're not going to go through all of that because that would take a long, long time. But I do walk you through some of that inside the Roadpreneurial community, and I'm there to help answer and walk you through that in a lot more depth. And so if you want more depth, that's where you can go to find that and get full access to me to really extract what that actually looks like. But for now, we're going to focus on joy mapping. So I don't want to derail us. So on the first, this is basically a mind mapping exercise. So on the first page, what I want you to do is I want you to draw a big, giant circle. Okay, I don't have the best marker. We're going to use it. That's fine. Okay, we're going to draw a big giant circle in the middle of your paper, and you're going to write in there business goals or roadpreneur goals, whatever you want to call it. You can even just write goals. That's what I'll write. So it's going to look something like this. Goals right in the middle of your paper. And then you're going to draw 5 lines coming out of it. Again, this is in your workbook. If you have the workbook, so you probably already see it. And the first of those is going to be values. The next is going to be business. The next is going to be travel, because we are adventure seekers. What kind of travel do you want to do? The next is going to be growth. Now I'm going to walk you through this, so don't worry. The next one's going to be family. I should have started with family, actually. So that's what it's going to look like as you're writing things out. So we have, again, family. We're going to start family, values, business, travel, and growth. And really, there's none that are weighted more than the others. But it's just a nice way to have basically understand the different areas of your life. So there's a lot of different things you can add into these little bubbles. I chose family, values, business, travel, and growth because I think that it encompasses the most in most parts of our life. We've got the personal side of things. We've got the professional. We've got adventure in there and excitement. And then we also have our core values of who we are, what we honor. And then, of course, some growth can be a combination of all of that. So we're going to end on growth, but let's start first with family. I'm going to set the timer. We're going to do what is called rapid journaling. And so if you're watching the replay, I will have the timer set. And so you can continue to do this just like if you were live. I know a lot of people were going to come and watch the replay. So I'm going to set this timer for 1 minute. And for that minute, what I want you to do is focus only on the family circle. Now, what you're doing here is you're writing ideas of what does this look like when you spark joy with your family? What does joy feel like? And I want you to get really, really specific here. So I don't want you to say, my kids bring me joy. Of course they bring you joy. They're your children. They're your flesh and blood. But what about your children? What are those moments in life that really bring joy to you? And I've already done this exercise for myself, but I'm going to do it again alongside you because I feel like this is one we should really come back to time and again. It's a really good one to continuously kind of calibrate where we are in our life and what we want out of our life. So we're going to start first. We're starting with the family circle, and what we're going to do is write what specific parts of your family spark joy for you right now. All right, 1 minute starting now. Okay, that was a minute. And I just made a stop. I just made a note in the comments that if you're joining us live, we are rapid journaling right now. So this is where we're at. What we have is we've gone through and we've written goals. We can also write joy here if we wanted to, but we just know that the goals that we're seeking right now are the ones that are going to bring us joy, of course. And then we have these 5 circles around it. So we've just started, how do I move my finger? There we go. We just started with family, and we just spent 1 minute writing the specific things about our family that spark joy. And so I am doing this exercise alongside you this morning. And the first thing that I wrote, which has actually changed since the last time I did this, is mountain biking. My son has just found a new love of mountain biking. I've always loved mountain biking. I've been taking about a 5-6 year hiatus from that sport because I had kids. You can't mountain bike when you're pregnant, or you shouldn't probably. I should not, because sometimes I go over my handlebars. That's not ever good. I also wrote puzzles. It's another newfound interest that we have, and I just love the time that we sit together around the table and we're doing puzzles together. It really is joy-filled because we start to have conversation we might not have had before. And then I also wrote snuggles on the couch. That was a Christmas gift that we gave to each other. And we've had some really nice time where we can finally all fit on one couch together, because we got a really, really, really massive couch, which is amazing because I love anything fluffy and snuggly. So those are my family goals. If you feel like it, you can drop yours into the chat. But we're also going to continue to move on, and we're going to go to the next circle. So the next circle is your values. These are things that really mean a lot to you. It's something that you truly value in life, and this is something that it's very personal, and it probably will not waver, nor probably should it. Your values are kind of those core values of things that you're convicted on them, and nothing is going to change that. These are things that mean a lot to you. When it comes to your business, and the reason why we look at your family and your values, when it comes to running a business and finding another revenue stream, knowing these values is crucial, because it's going to let you, again, keep your guard up. So you don't say yes to enticing offers that might not fully align. It's also going to help you to know where it's kind of that firm foundation of where you're going to land when things get a little bit rocky and a little bit hard, because they're always going to get rocky and hard, and that's okay. So we're 1 more minute. Again, we're going to wrap a journal on those values that bring us joy, the things that mean a lot to us. Ready, go. Okay, that was 1 minute. I have stop timer. Okay, I didn't even finish writing. Oh, I kind of did. So for my values, I wrote my faith means a lot to me. That's one that will never, never, ever waver. Sustainable living. I think it's really important that we know how to live for ourselves, and we treat the environment very, very respectfully. Of course, I love being outside, and so I don't want to ever treat it poorly. And then, of course, teaching and giving back. That's a really big one for me. I never, ever, that's why I do a free workshop series. I never, ever want to be someone who's just going to constantly, that's not going to give back. I think we all have something to give, something really, really valuable to give. And so to me, it's one of my core values that I do give back wherever I can. So that is very, very important to me. And I love, again, if you want to put it in the chat, you can, but we're also moving right along. And I know we're kind of going through this quickly, but I want us to continue to use this momentum to start to really feel into what brings us joy. So the next circle on here is business. And joy-filled businesses is exactly what we're going after. And so it's kind of funny that we're going to tackle this one in the middle, but it's a really important one. When you are working in your business, when you're working your business specifically, you want to make sure that you feel really good about everything that you have on your plate. When you don't, and I speak from personal experience, when you don't, things can feel very heavy. They can feel out of alignment. You can feel like you're not yourself. You can feel like you're missing out on something. And that's different than a FOMO. That means that you're not living your purpose. And that's a terrible, terrible feeling. And so for business, what I want you to do is write down the things that make you feel the most joy as you're working in them and working on them. What is it that makes you feel like, yes, that's me. I'm doing it. I'm excited about it. And so just write those down, and then we'll come back in just a minute and we're going to tackle the other two. Okay, that was 1 minute, and I actually did get my timer to turn off this time, so you don't even have to hear it. So I'd love to know what you guys wrote on your business circle, and I will share mine with you. Here we go. There it is. I wrote sharing with others, and that means sharing knowledge with others, sharing ideas with others, masterminding kind of a thing. Community means a lot to me, fostering a place where people can feel like they're not doing this alone, where they feel like they have someone to lean on, because I think that it sucks the joy out of things when you feel like you're going at it alone. It can feel very, very difficult and hard, and you can really get in your head. So to me, I really value and I cherish and I feel joy filled when I'm a part of a community. And then also witnessing growth. So I'm very outcomes focused. And this is something that I talk about a lot inside the Roadpreneurial community, but I talk a lot about it outwardly as well. But to me, it's important that we don't just send something out into the world and you don't know what happens on the other side of it. So a great example of this is I have a subscription box, not Roadpreneur. I have a Cruising and Campfire subscription box. And each month and each quarter, I've got a monthly and a quarterly, I send those boxes out. I do not know the house that they're going to arrive at. I know the address, obviously, because it's on the shipping label. But beyond that, I don't know anything about the person. And that has never sat well with me. And the reason why is because I want to know the person who's receiving it. I want to see what they get, what lights them up, what sparks joy in their life. And so I say witnessing growth as a value to me, because that has just caused me to want to add on another component to the subscription box for the between the boxes, where I can personalize that experience. I can get to know the people who are there, and I can really truly feel into what I'm delivering to them. And that to me is very, very important. It's a value that I know is going to bring me joy, because it makes me feel like, okay, my work is purposeful. There's something that's there that's making a difference in somebody's life. And I know that if you're here, that matters to you as well. So that's a really, really important one. It's also why I decided not to do the Roadpreneur community as just a course. Originally, I was going to do it just as a course, but I've now turned it into a membership, because I want to be able to be there and witness the growth that comes out of those experiences and out of things that we're doing together. So that's why that's there. All right, we're moving on to the next circle. And the next circle is travel. This one's a really fun one, because even if you love to, that you love to RV, what specific type of RVing do you like to do? Are you more of like the resort style or the boondocking, or do you like everything? So, and what do you like to do on those trips? What kind of experiences are on your bucket list? What are things that you like to do that bring you joy when it comes to seeking adventure and travel and seeing the world? So we're going to spend a minute to journal on that. Okay, that was a minute. The minutes go by quickly. So for travel, I'd love to hear what you guys wrote down. But here's what I wrote down. As you can see, as I'm filling out the paper alongside you, I wrote down mountain biking. Again, I love to find new trails. Full hookups. I like to have full hookups. I know a lot of people love to go boondocking, and I like the open space. But I also really like to know that I've got running water. I like good eats, specifically over the campfire. I love making new food that we can make either over the campfire, we have a Blackstone grill, any kind of food that we can make outside. I just feel like it tastes better. That fresh air makes it taste a little bit better. And I also love to meet new people. You meet a lot of really cool new people. We had a really awful experience at a campground a year ago. And the one good thing that came of it was we actually met another couple who has kids about the same age as our kids, and we bonded over that, and we're still friends to this day. And you just never know who you're going to meet. Even in the craziest of circumstances, you just never know who you're going to meet. And so that to me means a lot. I love getting to know other people. I love to hear their stories. And I think you're going to start to see where I'm going to joy mapping, especially how it turns into another added revenue stream. So we're not going to get there quite yet. Let's go to the last circle, and this is growth. So growth is personal or professional growth, but what are some things that you value, that you find joy in doing, that help you to grow in any way? Personally or professionally, it does not matter. But what are some of those joy-filled things that you love to do? So one of the members of our Roadpreneurial community is actually doing something called, or she's doing a free series right now. I know she's not on because I think she's on her own series right now. But she's doing one where you unlock your creativity and drop those creative blocks. It's really, really good. And I listened in on hers yesterday, and she was talking about morning pages. So that's a really good example of something you would do to personally and professionally grow. Each morning you do your morning pages. And hopefully she'll come in here and drop her link so you guys can go and join that too, because she's got some really awesome things going on. But in the meantime, let's go and do our own joy mapping exercise, where we are going to talk journal for 1 minute on what brings us the most joy when we're seeking those growth opportunities. Where do we want to grow, and what lights us up with where we want to grow? Okay, that was 1 minute. And I am very excited to see what you guys came up with for this one, because I think it's really, really, really important. For me, I put conferences. I actually really like conferences. I'm an introvert, and so they can kind of drain me, but being in that swirl, I like to also go back to my own hotel room and just breathe for a second after at the end of the day. But I like to be in that swirl where you're just like a sponge for information, and you're also meeting new people, and you're out there seeing new things and just shifting maybe a little bit of your perspective on how you think. So I love that. I also love reading. I love reading some good books that can really light new ideas inside of you, new motivation inside of you. And then, of course, I also like small groups. I like small group learning because I think that there's a lot of power in not just hearing information, but then also having a small group where you can kind of process that information together. That's where I like to learn best. And I do this in a personal setting with, I have a small church group that I meet with every single Sunday, and we just do life together. That's basically what it is. And then I also do this professionally as well. So I'm always seeking out new ways that I can continue to learn and continue to grow. I am not above thinking that I know everything. I know I don't know everything. And so I want to continuously soak up new knowledge, new ideas. Doesn't mean I'm going to use them all, but I like to do that. So I would love to hear what you guys came up with as well for that. But while you're typing that in, And while you're sharing it, I don't know if I can see any comments, by the way, but that's okay. I will go and follow back up. And also, if you're watching the replay, definitely leave a comment. But the reason why we do this exercise is now you're going to start to see some threads going between the different circles. And those threads are telling, they're kind of shaping that guardrail of how you're going to continue to move forward and continue to spark joy in your life through some really, really intentional and meaningful ways of doing business. So I said at the beginning of this, and you know that you're part of this challenge of finding your first or next revenue stream. Well, the way you're going to do this with a joy map is you're going to start to look for those common threads and find ways where you can add something to it, or you can shift something that's not feeling right to align with your joy, with those joy-filled moments, or you can start a brand new revenue stream, your first or next revenue stream that will help you to continue to bring in money while you travel, while you continue to honor your family and honor those values, but you can grow your business in a way that feels really, really good. So here's an example of this, just from this exercise that I just did with you. One of the things that I can see that bubbles up to the top of the surface with mine, and the reason why I was sharing all of my answers with you, is community and connection with others is so important to me, but I like it to be very intentional. So under business, I wrote sharing with others and community and witnessing growth. Under growth, I also wrote small groups and conferences and reading. Well, reading is nice, and it's really good for me personally, but I need to have those moments where I'm connecting with other people. So for my business, another revenue stream that I can add in would be to incorporate a mastermind, which in fact is going to come this summer. I'm going to create a mastermind where it's more of a small group, small setting, very, very deep discussions on the next stage of growth. So I do a lot of startup stuff, but I also do a lot of really deep analysis on where business is, where it can go, the directions that it's heading using analytics. I love data. Even though I'm not a data scientist, I love data. I love digging into those analytics and really starting to understand how to connect those dots. I also really like behavioral psychology. I love to understand what makes people want to take action, what makes people tick, what makes people make that next step forward. That's why I teach customer journey mapping. That's one of my very favorite things to talk about. And so I understand, just based on this joy map, I can see that by adding in this next step, I'm able to continue to walk that journey alongside the people that I love to serve. And I'm able to continue to deepen the way that I'm serving, but also the way that I want to go about it and the way that I would structure it needs to be joy-filled too. So as you're thinking about that next revenue stream, it's not just enough to say, I want to show up and serve more people, and I'm going to do it in this way. You need to start to look at how. So the final part of this exercise, we're not going to do it on this workshop. We're going to do this as part of your homework. And I'd love to see it posted in the group, is I want you to go through each of these circles, and you can either go through each of these little bubbles out to the side, or you can just choose a couple of them that you feel are standing out and say, how are you going to make that happen? How are you going to bring this to life? So the how for the personal sense, I said that I like mountain biking a lot. Guess what? I sold my mountain bike. I don't have a mountain bike right now. And so my first how is I'm going to go get myself a mountain bike. My second how is I'm going to find some really cool new trails that I can do with our entire family and not just some really technical trails that kind of scare me anyway because it's been so long. And so that's my how for that. That seems really simple and basic. And yet, if you don't understand the how behind it, it's really easy to get kind of caught up in all of that. And all of that dreaming and shiny object syndrome where it just distracts you. The other thing is that I said that I want to start the mastermind, but I need that to align with how I like to go camping. It needed to align with my quiet time with my family. I said that I also like to do puzzles and snuggle up on the couch. Those snuggle up times are not nearly as good when you're feeling like you're constantly tethered to your phone and your kids are like, Mommy, why are you on your phone all the time? You need to have those personal boundaries, and knowing where you find joy in your life, in all corners of your life, is going to help you keep those boundaries up, keep those guardrails up, so you only say yes and you only design a business and a revenue stream that feels really, really good. So your homework for the rest of the day, or the rest of the week actually, because we're only doing one of these per week, is to start to think about how. And the how can also, you don't have to have this perfectly designed yet. You just have to know what your next step is going to be. So that how is just the next step. The how can be, I need to find a coach who's going to help me get out of my head and stop working alone so I can really show up intentionally but not get stuck and constantly second guessing everything and not having anyone to process this with. Or the how can be, I need to sign up for a few conferences. You don't need to know what conferences are yet, but you do need to know that I'm committing to myself because I know that I find joy in these areas, that I'm going to show up for these conferences, and I'm going to continue to pursue this mechanism of growth for myself. So there you go. That's your homework for today. Again, if you do not have this workbook, this is all laid out for you in the workbook. And I'm also in this group all week long, all month long, actually. This is a February group. And so I'll be in the group all month long. And so we can continue to process this. If you come up with some questions while you're doing the joy mapping, drop a note inside the group. That's why it's here. That's why we're here. And I've made myself available to you inside this group this month, because I want to answer those questions and I want to help you uncover what's next for you. So that's all I have for this workshop. I'm going to be back next Tuesday, of course, as you probably already know, and we are going to start to look at, goodness, what comes next? I forgot. I should not have forgotten that. We're going to start to look at casting the vision. That is you guys have access to all of this. Oh, problem solving. I think there is so much talk out in the marketing world and out, especially online marketers. They love to talk about the problems, but we don't talk enough about the solutions. And I'm very, very tactical. I like to have somebody tell me what to do, and I like to show others exactly what to do. I don't hold back very much on that. And it's yes, mindset is important, but I'm really, really a strong advocate for teaching tactics that are going to start to help you put all those puzzle pieces together. So next week, we're going to talk through problem solving. I'm going to give you some really, really specific examples of how to identify the problem and then solve it. We want to have the solution. We're solutions oriented. We're not just, hey, look, there's a problem for you to solve. I want to help you figure out exactly how. So you're going to come back to the joy mapping exercise. You're going to come back to your whys. But that next week, it's going to build upon both of these first two workshops, and we're going to look at that problem and how to solve it and turn that into a revenue stream. And then the last Tuesday of this month, we're going to talk through what is possible. What's possible with all that you have found, with that solution that you're ready to show up and serve in a way that's going to feel really, really joy-filled, and it's going to align with your why, with your customer's why. What's possible? What's lying there beneath the surface, ready for you to grab? So my goal for you at the end of this month is to have that idea of, that's where I'm going to make money next, and that's what I'm going to lean into next, because I know it's the right decision for myself and for my customers. So stick with us. 2 more workshops every single Tuesday here at 7:45 Pacific, which I know is very early, but wake up with me. I love that. Grab a cup of coffee and listen in, and a pen and paper. Or come and watch the replay. That's totally fine. I know we're all busy. We're all so busy. So don't worry about it. If you're watching the replay, welcome, welcome. We're happy that you're here watching the replay too. And just pop some notes in, because I'll be here all week. Feel free to tag me, DM me, whatever you need. I'm here for you, and I am excited for all that's ahead for you. Have a great Tuesday.